Hugo wants 200, baby.
You ready to get back to the trading action?
You aim, you shoot, and make money.
It's going to be a great day. You guys know where you're at.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. What another awesome bullish day in this bull market for people who are cool with buying and owning stocks. Nice gap up over the weekend. We had some news about European Union, something, tariff, blah, blah, blah. But it seems like the story of it's all about the bonds continues to play out. As soon as the bonds hit a certain level, all of a sudden, magically, there's some good news that comes out and corrects the market to when it was down. So that's what I'm going to go over a little bit this morning while we wait for our buddy Steve, Cheater Nick, or Mitch to get over from another channel. We'll talk a lot about, hey, what's going on in the market, some news events, all of that. But the real thing is we are getting an everything rally. So a broad market rally across pretty much everything. Let's go to the heat map and let's go to the pre-market on the heat map. And you can see everything's really green. And again, that's exactly kind of what you want to see if it's going to be an everything rally. You don't want just a couple stocks up, a couple stocks down. That makes for more choppy markets. In this case, everything is up as we continue to trot along on this incredibly bullish market that we are seeing here. So, I made a little tweet, a little joke that even when small caps is moving higher, if small caps are moving higher, then everything else is doing fantastically, as small caps are kind of the dog of the space, and they're getting a little bit of their heyday today. So when it comes to, under the hood and diving too deep, these are the days you don't really have to, because it's one of those days that if your stock is down, it's probably a bad stock, right? Or bad news has just come out, because everything else is shooting up. And this was evident that this was, I did something. This was evident in crypto on the weekend. So crypto was very much whatever the opposite of a canary in a coal mine is, where when we dipped, this was kind of Thursday, Friday's candle, we held the breakout. So here on Bitcoin, this was the 109 area. This was the all-time highs. We rallied here and then pulled back, tapped those all-time highs and held for now, right? And obviously anything can happen. But so far, we are holding very well, holding nicely today as well. If we go into, a shorter term chart, we came back down. You can see this shaded area. That's roughly, that all-time high zone-ish that I have on the daily chart. And every time we seem to enter this, there's buyers. And if people are buying the risk asset, for crypto, then they're probably going to buy the stock market as well. Ethereum continues to be in this range, stuck between the 200-day moving average and this anchored VWAP, and same with Solana. So this is very much a Bitcoin bull market. Everything else is up nicely off the lows, right? Solana's doubled essentially from its lows. So that's great for all that, but it's very much a flight to Bitcoin, a flight to, the safety of the crypto community. But, you can see here on the list, this side here, these are all the crypto tickers that I watch, and every one of them is green. So throw a dart and you are up 3 to 4% on your different crypto. And then if we go into, right, even the broad market index is up here. Again, everything is green. XWV doesn't trade enough to be worthwhile, but everything's green here across the board. RSP, so the average large cap stock is up. So this is not just being held by just a couple people. That's because, again, the RSP represents the average. So it's not cap weighted. It doesn't really care about just Apple, Nvidia, all these. It's a little bit of everything. That's up. We have the SPY up, the Q's up, more. Again, like I was joking, even IWM, which is your small cap guys. These are junky companies. These junky companies are doing just fine. So again, this is a very broad market rally. This isn't just a couple stocks pulling us up. We have that evidence when it comes to, looking at the equal weight and the small cap indexes, and even mid caps doing well, right? So small caps up to 2 billion, mid caps are 2 to 10 billion, large caps are everything 2 billion plus. So the fact that everything is rallying across the board, even the equal weighted indexes, means that this is just everyone's buying stocks. So that leads you to kind of take a look. And if you go through this heat map, if you have something that is not up, right, you have something that is down, like what, DoorDash is the only what I can see, two red things. I can see DoorDash and KMB. These are kind of probably stocks that you don't want to focus on too much, right? If everything else is doing absolutely fantastic. So as the market continues to climb, we need to keep in mind that some of these indices are still below their 200-day moving average and getting to it. So mid caps a little bit below its 200 moving average. We have small caps still well below its 200-day moving average because, again, small caps kind of suck. But everything across the board, every sector, every crypto, the dollar, bonds, all rallying. So the kind of comment I made on bonds earlier is we talked about this on Thursday, me and Mitch, is that this area on bonds is where Trump flinches, right? They know the bond market controls everything, and they know at what point they can have him stop tweeting bad things, which is all the market really wants. And this is where, the tariff relief of the tariff tantrum came in, where he rolled back all the tariffs. Every time we get here on the bonds, or conversely on TNX, which is right about 4.5-ish on the rates, that's where he goes, enough, let's say something nice and rally things. So that continues. So I think more than anything, and Ray Dalio came out and did this whole big thing on this earlier, I think more than anything, it's a good time to focus on bonds. Again, they're not fun to trade. That's why we don't talk about them very much. But the bond market is way bigger, like 10x bigger than the stock market. So you can have a healthy economy with a down stock market. You cannot have a healthy economy with a down bond market. And I think that's what we're seeing right here. And I see some lurkers in the background that can come in, a cheater among us that was over in another room and some other things. So there's one guy. Hey, Steve, how's it going?
Hey, good morning. Good to see you, man.
You called Steve the cheater, right? That's why
I know. There's the cheater over on those other networks.
Yeah. What's going on, guys? How we doing out there? Who's ready to get after the week, man? I'll tell you what, I'm excited. It took a little bit of a long weekend, right? And now we're going to look to see what we come into today. Looking around out there, guys, and we'll see what happens. Definitely, it's going to be a fun week. We got the Discord event. Don't miss that, right? You guys will see it down at the bottom. Don't miss that, guys. Definitely check it out. Looking forward towards that. That's going to be a fun time, and you'll get a lot of kind of strategy outlook there. So if you guys don't have our Discord or not on there, don't miss out, guys. All right, we'll talk about some trading action here. We've already given the overall market review. Michael kind of touched on all those things. We can talk a little bit more about what was on the Sunrise report here. Of course, not too much anything surprising there. I think the big thing, of course, was the EU news. I don't know if you covered that, Michael. Of course, Trump kind of pushing, and then the EU pretty much saying that we need more time. We need more time for your deal. Don't press it right now. So what does he do? He pushes it back again. What I've been saying about everything, the pushback game, right? The pushback game. Mm-hmm. But the interesting part, and I got to give it to my man Dennis for putting a tweet on this. So when you give an EU tariff of 50%, you drop like 30 points. But then when you delay it, you go up 60 points. That makes sense, right, guys? Put that one in your next finance book. Why don't you?
It makes sense with the positioning, right? So that was going to be the next thing to go over. They're still short, and they didn't buy anything last week. They're still very short. So again, this red line represents the average or the net, I guess is the best way to put it, the net investment of the large speculators. So again, everyone who's a retail trader, turn around and give yourself a pat on the back, because for the first time, I think maybe in the history of my trading career, retail is beating institutions. Retail bought that dip. We have the data. Robinhood released a great report showing that their clients during the whole tantrum were plowing in money, just as much as they could possibly get. Retail traders bought the dip. Now they're up 25% in a couple weeks. Institutions, we can see right here, did not. They're still short. And this rally, again, put my foot down for well, since back here, that this rally will continue until we see this line tick up. As soon as they start to get in, that might be a little bit of a top. But yes, they're still net short. If you look at bonds, right? The bonds don't update, but Bitcoin, they're still net short Bitcoin too. They're actually quite a bit net short Bitcoin. So I gave a whole presentation about how I think this Bitcoin rally has legs, because last time we broke out and they were this short, it ripped up 40% in just a couple days. So great. I've reached out to Jason Shapiro. He might be coming on soon. He did a great little presentation on the weekend about how if you're a contrarian investor, you are buying the markets right now. If you want to be a contrarian, you are buying, because you don't, contrarian investing doesn't mean I'm going to fade, the market goes up, I'm going to short it, the market goes down, I'm going to buy it. Contrarian investing is I'm going to fade positioning, and we know the positioning, and the positioning right now is short. So when you have one of the greatest contrarian investors in the world saying buy dips, I'm inclined to agree with him here. So yeah, and look, you even you have to squint to see how much they bought. So again, this is the reason it's flat for a long period of time, is it updates once a week. So that little tiny bump up is all that they bought. So still very, very net short on positioning all across the board, which I love to see, because again, I love to see the little guy get a leg up on the big guy, at least for once. It doesn't happen often.
Yeah, well, it continues this morning up, getting with the gap up, right? We'll see if we can now just push away. Can we go back to 595 and continue with the breakouts? So I say you're looking out for your momentum names, your trend trades, right? Trades that held the 9 EMA. And if you look at essentially what we did there last week on the SPY, we did one blimp of a break of a 9 EMA, and we're right back above that. So maybe it's using the 10 that helps you a little bit better on the overall market. But I'm looking at names like that have just done a little slight undercut on the 9 and are now ready for another momentum push. So we'll be looking for names like that. If you guys got stocks you guys are looking at in the chat, mention them. Definitely GameStop keeps triggering. Are you shorting this thing yet? I wouldn't short this bad boy. That is...
Usually shorting GameStop is like the easiest trade on the street. It's an awful company that should be a zero. But I'm looking down, I'm seeing actually Bitcoin as we speak breaking out a little bit. It's back over 110. And I think for now, at least for a while, Bitcoin it's just tied to Bitcoin. Like if you look at this chart, as soon as Bitcoin started to break out there, right, you got to take a couple days away because Bitcoin trades on the weekend. But this was the day that Bitcoin hit new all-time highs, and then right the day after it. So it is moving kind of lockstep with Bitcoin now. So people are using this as a proxy. So if Bitcoin breaks out today, which, man, this chart looks like it certainly could, I think you're going to get GME to continue with it. It just seems to be.
To me,
now,
I saw it before the Bitcoin. No, we talked about this on Tuesday. I think last when Steve was on, we brought up GameStop. I was pointing to it. It was just something when something's unreasonably just staying strong, right? Like just staying sideways, getting sleepy, but still a very positive chart. That's what you want to see, right? That's what you want to see in this case. This thing has been trying to break 30 since back in November. It broke 30. It got above there. It went all the way back to 20. Now it got above 30. And what is it doing above that 30? Straight breakout from that 30, right? So that's where your level is of support. Now that's where you're driving off from. So now you start looking to see, when can I look for pullbacks to play the momentum? The MACD crossed over specifically right on the breakout, right? That's why indicators are sometimes going to be used more for conviction than giving you the sign to come in. But one thing I am going to be looking for is how high are you going to push on the RSI? GME has a tendency of reversing right around here on the RSI. It's only gone higher on the RSI than 90, like probably 4 times in the last 3 years. So this is the time where it's just on that last gas push, right? Looking to see that we can ride that gas.
I just think you got to look at it. It's a different beast now, right? So this is the red line here. This is Bitcoin, right? So you can see Bitcoin rallies, GME rallies, Bitcoin chills out, GME, right? It's in pretty much lockstep. So I think from now you got to look at kind of the old history of GameStop and say it's it's just a Bitcoin proxy now, right? So you got to look at it and you got to say, if I'm buying this, I'm basically buying leveraged Bitcoin. And I think there might be some extension here in GameStop if Bitcoin really gets going, just because everybody is so short. Like, it's got a pretty decent, not anything crazy like it used to have, but it's got an okay short float. So where, we know that Bitcoin as a whole has a pretty massive short float as well. So you have crypto shorted, and then you have GameStop shorted. So if crypto makes a little short squeeze, I think again GameStop makes a little bit more. But if I look back now and Bitcoin's under 100,000, most certainly GME is back down to where it broke out from. So I think it's really just you keep an eye on crypto in this play, and it makes more sense to me than something like people keep trying to chase Mara. This hasn't done anything even with the crypto rally, because GameStop isn't losing nearly as much money as Mara is. So when people are looking for their crypto proxies, they're going to go Coinbase, they're going to go Robinhood, they're going to go all these places. And I think GameStop's now one of those where if you look at kind of the last earnings report, they broke even-ish. They made a little bit of money, kind of broke even. So it's a better proxy now than a lot of these Bitcoin miners that are just kind of hemorrhaging money.
Yeah, and 100%. It's been on the Hangout. Roaring Kitty coming soon. Watch for it, guys.
Well, you gotta watch
but
now.
DJT, right? And the DJT today too. I wanted to bring that up because it's already pulled back here, and this was a trade that I wanted to bring up, but it's already happened pretty much. The flush down there, and I was like, man, this is setting up for another short on DJT. DJT every single time it gets a good catalyst. I think literally for me, at least from my memory, 10 out of 10 times it's done a good report, it goes down on the good report. It's gone up on the bad reports, but every single time it gaps up like this, it just keeps getting hit.
Well, we're talking proxies, right? And it's the same. I look at this the exact same. DJT was just a proxy for how much people liked Trump before, but why would you buy the company that's hemorrhaging money every day as a proxy for, basically they're just trading Trump's approval rating at this point. You can just trade the meme coin, right? You can get this, and this at least doesn't lose money every day. Whereas DJT, at some point, they got to come knocking to shareholders and say, right, dilution time, give us something. So I think it's kind of the same story, is that people are looking for proxies to express things the best way they can. So, just says, hey, why don't we just have betting, like just do the Kalshi stuff inside of our, that's basically what they've been using DJT for, is every time Trump's approval rating ticks up, this thing skyrockets, and every time he does something dumb, it tanks. And it's like, so just give me Kalshi in my brokerage account.
Of course, bringing DJT with the news this morning, right, that they have now 1.5 billion in common stock to sell and 1 billion in convertible senior notes to use for Bitcoin treasury. So that's what I'm mainly referring here. And I think that's going to make the move like GME could make also in the long run. Right now, I think it's a wash here, maybe even the first 2 or 3 hours of the day. Look for later in the day, maybe for it to get hot on this news. It's going to be buying Bitcoin. It's going to be another one, just like how we've been seeing plenty of these come out where they're saying they're going to buy in Bitcoin, right? Building it up. And MSTR, your scam. Is it time for MSTR's day? I think today's that day too. I'm looking at that. I actually do like the miners today. I know that it's not the relatively strong area to look, but I think they're going to start looking in the dumpsters. And when they look in the dumpsters, it doesn't matter what the chart is or relative strength. They're just going to go they're actually looking for relative weakness. At least if anything, they're looking for the weakness to go combing in the dumpsters, right? You got those dumpster divers that are looking around right now, and people are scared to buy a chart like you're seeing in these nuclear plays where it's just rocketing, right? They're usually scared to buy those, like the Palantirs, the Hims, right? They're scared of those names. So they're looking to dumpster fire, looking to see what they can go into. I think Clean Spark, Mara, MSTR, definitely in play today to be watching for those, especially as you do like on Mara, where it's like an undercut on a daily chart. It's like I washed out everybody that wanted to be in this last week, and now I can go, right?
Yeah, it almost looks like it almost looks like it's repeating that last kind of consolidation pattern there, where it's got
Exactly.
that kind of expanding down
Good
the
eyes,
ledge
Steve.
type thing, megaphone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The undercut right before the go.
I could see it.
Some people call it, and to give a shout out to a guy that I've been watching lately on Twitter, and I'll give you guys his tweet, but he calls it the squat before the go. Scott, he says stocks like to squat before they go, and this is exactly that, right? It's that dip right before they rip up, right? It's just like when you go to jump, right? A big jump. How are you going to do a big jump? You're going to first put a lot of force into the ground and then jump off the moon, right? Well, that's exactly what happens. And a lot of that is what the liquidity move that we talk about, liquidity grabs, right? They see all the stops right there. They flush it through those stops and then they bring it back, right? So I think today's a good day to watch for, right? Because it also doesn't need to go to the highs, even just back to yesterday's or Friday's range 16. That's not a bad play today, right? So we'll see what happens on these. All in play. I do see a nuclear chat question there, so let's go to that chat question. It was earlier, but you guys can touch on it too, how you guys see it. And I wanted to bring in a couple other charts too, so we can run through them. Michael, I'll just name some of these. I talked about them on Trader TV, that there's other names than just the normal ones, right? In the energy names are some of the strongest ones. Those are the ones I would definitely watch. You got the uranium name right there. We can also take a look at uranium like LEU. That's another one to look at, or you just URA, right? I know you're a big proponent of the ETFs. When I play with
NLR,
yeah,
NLR is my favorite, just because it's got the nuclear reactors as well as the uranium, the small guys and the big guys. So it's like full.
Take a look at these
coverage.
energy plays. See, best one is GEV, right? We've talked about that one plenty of times. Look at that chart.
Pretty crazy.
Rocket ride, right? Then look at this one. You got CEG, right behind that one.
Yeah, that one's beautiful as well.
And then take a look at this one, VST. Boom.
So these are kind of like the blue chips, I'd say. Like these are like the quality companies.
Here's one more, NRG.
The small scale stuff.
NRG. Yeah, that's a good one too.
Look at that chart, guys.
Yeah.
Just absolute rocket rides. These are the ones that I would say are higher quality investment style, right? Then you got your speculative plays. You can even include in the higher quality, I would include like OKLO. You can take a look at that chart, very similar to these energy charts, right? Rocket rides, big moves up, right? So then we have our speculative plays in those plays. Those are going to be your SMRs and your NNE. Why are they speculative? Because they're like mid caps, right? They're like small caps becoming mid caps. They're still growth outlooks. They're still speculative on the actual products that they make, right? And you can take a look at NNE's Twitter and how they're trying to push and things like that. Those are the types of things that show me that. But it doesn't mean that you can't play these also. I think you're looking to see how we play these on pullbacks. What do you guys see on these charts? At least SMR and NNE, and then maybe another one if you guys want to mention.
Sure. Yeah, I'll just start with the overall ETF, NLR, right? Because this is going to give you your best broad view of the whole thematic kind of idea, from the big guys, the small guys, to this. I look at it. Yes, it's gone up a bunch from the lows here, but you're just getting this breakout just now. So I think for me, as someone who owns this, and I love that Rando's here saying that he's made a bunch on SMR, which is my other holding in this play. So I kind of own 50%, I would say, of each, because this is, I could be right about the theme of nuclear, but I could be wrong about SMR. So this is my way to kind of cover that. I think you just see if it holds a breakout, right? And as long as we are now above this kind of $97 area, I want to just hold tight, because this stuff can get wild. If this is going to continue, imagine Trump comes out, he already did it, some sort of an executive order on whatever. The more he talks about this kind of stuff as a way to do a nice middle ground of, it's not the, hippie green energy or whatever, but we all know that this is, if you're talking actual green energy that can actually power stuff, this is the best shot you've got with nuclear. You've got the administration on your side, and you got a fresh breakout. So everyone who's short is wrong. And I know a lot of these names are kind of heavily shorted. So for me, it's just as long as we're holding this breakout, I'm in full tilt, and then slap a moving average on 20 period or something like that, and just try to hold on as long as I can.
Absolutely. So this is great because you're in, and congratulations. It's that meme of the kid who's like, congratulations, I'm happy for you.
Oh, yeah, and he's just like,
I'm out. Yeah. So, and then there's me, who's I haven't gotten in yet. I was all preoccupied with quantum names last week. I saw QBTS mentioned in the chat earlier, and that one's been good to me. So I guess I didn't cry too much, but at the same time, I'm looking for some consolidation to go on here on some of these names. Because I'm looking for it, I probably won't get it. Probably just be a straight ripper through the top there. But if we do get a consolidation, I am looking for a foothold. If Michael doesn't squeeze me and the rest of the market out here, because I want in. This chart looks good. Looks like it's breaking out of a cup and handle to me on SMR here. OKLO's quite similar, just with an even tighter, I mean, it didn't even need to base half as long. There's one other very speculative one that I just want to put on people's radars because I am looking for these catch-up trades, right? So there's let me double check on the ticker because I'm like dyslexic.
You got some you bringing the SPAC one? You gonna bring in the SPAC one that I traded?
GSR, very speculative, nuclear, terrified. Like, we got to understand, like, even the concept of small nuclear reactors, that you're just like. So for those who don't know, these SMRs and OKLOs, their whole thing is that instead of building a giant nuclear facility to like power Manhattan, well, what about like, I live in my whole province is like 1 million people in it. If you took one of these little guys, a couple of them, you spread them out throughout the province, then you could essentially power the whole province based off these little, but just the concept of small speculative nuclear power generators is just terrifying. I'm sure there's some regulatory body who's keeping us from little mini Chernobyls all over the place, but
I'm not anymore. I hope so.
It's terrifying.
But yeah, was the name GSRT the one that you wanted to mention?
Yeah, GSRT. I have it up on my screen right now. It looks like it's.
I played it on Friday.
Thing.
I made money on Friday on this.
Very nice.
So and it didn't get the big rip. So I'll tell you what happened to it. I was watching the price action literally, and I was trading it live, representing Trade the Pool on Stock Trader Network out there, checking that out. But I got this at like 1052. As soon as it broke the 1050, I sold a piece of it near 11, but was looking for like 1130. And in between 1095 and 1117, that price level went through in literally less than a millisecond. And as soon as it happened live, I was like, yeah, that was dark pool ordering. And my man Dennis Dick, he has a lot of like kind of different data feeds and things like that. He looked back on the tape and he was like, yeah, Mitch, you are right. That was definitely dark pool action there. And I was like, yeah, dude, this is just more experience. You see that action. You see how it moves. You see nothing on the tape. Nothing goes in on the sales. Yeah, that was dark pulling. So that's one thing I will mention. There's like this huge leveling on the level 2 for this name. You'll see 10,000, 15,000 on levels up. What I mean, like kind of ladder. What I mean by ladder is like up by like 10, 20 cents, and you just keep seeing it. That's like an algo trying to trade this. So realize you're trading against the bots.
Yeah.
Especially when you trade a name like this. So it's going to be a hard one, but one to watch, Steve. I like that you mentioned it. Good stock to mention. Another thing to mention with this is that it's a SPAC. SPACs are coming back, Michael. I know you don't want to believe it. One day, I'm going to change that face around, baby.
Chamath needs a bunch more money.
You know how Michael posts all those memes about bears and
I love those.
You should show the meme right now so I can bring in the backstory. Well, I'm gonna post one day for the SPACs. Michael, all those SPAC haters out there.
I'll buy them if they go up. I just don't want to.
You know what the
Chamath.
best part? The best part is Chamath this morning or yesterday, kind of straight trolling people hard, guys. If you guys don't know Chamath, of course, he was one of the biggest proponents of SPACs.
Oh, he made so much money off those bankrupt companies. It was ridiculous.
Oh, man. Did I even get the tweet up? Oh, I don't even know if I got the tweet up. Where is it at? It should be there.
I love this guy.
It didn't go up there. Oh, man. All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on it. But yeah, GME, baby. We'll see what happens.
I'm posting this guy a lot.
Yeah, you got to
making people
gotta
mad.
get those bears mad. We'll see. We got the bots coming in, man. We're getting some love.
Oh man, yeah, Twitter's just a nightmare, isn't it? Just trying to get literally anything tweet.
Dude,
oh, it's
Elon. I'll call you out here, guys. I mean, you're a joke, man, with that whole bot mention by Twitter because you want to take the bots out. But then, it really was you didn't want to be held down on your freedom of speech, so you bought the platform that you like, but you didn't take out the bots. You told us you were going to take out the bots. That's what we all believed in you for. It didn't happen. Let's go trading, guys. 9:30. Here it is, guys. We'll take a look to see what happens in the market. Take a look around to see if we get a little dip. We're getting that dip right out the gates here. Let's see what happens. Let's see if it starts a quick bounce back.
I just grabbed some OKLO at 48.60 just because it looked oversold and I want to just play it back up to the. Oh well, I just got filled on the gap back, so I have a half a position still on.
Yeah, that's a 49 cut down. That looks like a nice little strategy right there. I'd be looking for it to clear 50 here, but we'll see what happens on that one. Looking at VST, NRG, and those names all pulling back right out the gates here. We could see a little bit further pullback. CEG 300 break is one that I'm watching. But yeah, we're getting a pullback right here out the gates here, guys.
I'm going to watch the futures a lot today because they were open for a little bit on yesterday's action. So I think it's important to kind of, pay attention to just that overall action or the CFDs. Again, just to show you that there was some pretty bullish action, right? So this was Friday and then into Sunday, but we did have a little bit of a push there. And then on the market, just pushing under pre-market lows. So definitely something we got to keep an eye on. Some of these trades I'm looking at, Rocket. So I need to go and buy this here. So I heard the British man yell, not Rocket companies, but this Rocket Pharmaceuticals. There's a lot of rockets out there. Some of these beaten up stocks that may bounce with this overall bullish action. So that's that idea. Looking to break through VWAP. There's the green arrow alert, and then looking to take out at highs. Then some things to the short side that are triggering. We got some Intel breaking down. There's not a lot of room there on that one. GameStop, it's just popping here off the open. MSTR and Bitcoin holding pretty strong. Quantum computing seems to be breaking down a little bit. So we have RGTI. I'm going to pop over here. I heard the British man yell on this one too. So I'll look to take a short there. And yeah, that's the basic idea. We're just trying to short, get some of these revisions back to 2-day VWAPs, and then just keep an eye on the overall market, which is downticked a little bit. We're under, not technically pre-market low because that's way down here, but this last little kind of pre-market support that we had that we got to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I like what you're seeing there. I'm gonna keep an eye on these quantum names for short. I gracefully took my exit on, what was it, Thursday, I think, whenever QBTS hit 19. Missed a little bit of the top there, but I think that when the market gods give you 65% in a week, you probably say thank you and step aside for a minute. So,
all right, looking at Archer and Clean Spark out the gates. Archer pulled back a little bit further than I liked, so I'm going to be watching Clean Spark, but we also got to talk about the swing plans out, guys. And Fiverr is on my eyes for the swing alert, guys. That is one of the top swing stocks that I see out there for me on a setup. That's FBRR. I like that swing setup.
There's PDD, so that's another one that I'm watching. So I'm going to take this
PDD
guy as well.
All right.
Nice little gap down off the open. So we risk under that level. 2-day VWAP gets us 2.5 risk reward. So
market breaking the support there, 516 on the Qs, now down to 515.55. We're losing a little altitude here.
Yeah, I got stopped out of the Oclo runner there pretty quickly. That knifed pretty hard. So we'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah, I'm waiting here, guys. And one of the things I'm looking for is, we are getting that pullback. Let's see when the buyers start stepping back in. Right now, it's been a quick pullback. Look at QBTS dropping about $1 here out the gates here. So quantum names dropping fast here out the gates. Ion Q down almost 4 points there. Big drop there in Ion Q. Pony also looking like it might drop here. I might scout Pony here. I'm looking at Clean Spark, though. Still watching that one.
Yeah, Bitcoin's pulling back a bit, but it's not crazy. This doesn't feel scared, for lack of better terms. Like, this feels like, okay, we're up a bit. Let's fade it. The question is, for how long? I mean,
it's also, I think, partially that it rose on a holiday weekend, low volume. I don't know how bullish the headlines are. I guess they're bullish, but you know, I understand why the market would want to just mean revert back down, probably to Friday's close at some point today or early in the week. I would not be surprised to see that kind of imbalance filled in, but seems relatively orderly, like you said.
What I'll be watching for later in the day, see if it starts to come back. AAP, Advanced Auto Parts. It's also a swing alert there for an undercut towards 48 and then a recovery back through 49. Really would like to see a wick get as close to 48 as possible, then back above 49.19. The VWAP right now, 49.13 on Advanced Auto Parts. How's GME looking?
Ripping.
And through that previous right off. Yeah, right off the open. So this is on a list if it can get back through VWAP for the day. But yeah, nice little pop there. Had a couple of these. UEC popped up on a little potential breakdown here. Just doesn't really move enough for the day. But again, just fading with some of these overextended style moves while we wait for the market to potentially find a low here somewhere. It seems like it's
ripped out the gates. Just to mention at least a positive one. Tesla's out the gates ripping, but it's pulling back now. It went to 353 from like 347 pretty quickly.
Yeah, Tesla's doing great. Pretty much everything is still up. Energy is dragging us a little bit. Just pulling back a bit, right? So like NVIDIA, all these tech names are still green, still doing fine. So it seems like a kind of like price exploring. So right, at what point do buyers kind of come in? And technically, I keep zooming back, and I don't really see anything, to be honest, that stands out other than like you were talking about, Steve. This Friday's high is also Thursday's low. So that's kind of an interesting area, but I don't know if we'll even get there.
I'm seeing a little bit of buying on SPY, so I'm keeping an eye on that. I'm gonna close my RGTI short, or half of it. Although, man, it just keeps dropping. That was a great call out.
I'm almost, so you can see the yellow line there. That's where my order will be a little bit. It came out, I think, a little under 14, but I put it a little bit over. So I'm just waiting for the British man to yell at me.
Yeah, I just got out right there. That was a real clean trade. Very nice, dude.
Right?
Very nice.
VWAP to VWAP.
I'm keeping an eye on OKLO now for a reversal here. I think the momentum names might try to catch. All right, I nibbled back into OKLO, but I'm essentially flat on that trade. I took the little pop right into open, and then I got bodied on the second half of that. So maybe that's a revenge trade. We'll see if I'm silly.
All right, guys, looking at Microsoft here on the pullback. It's a bullish chart, has a VWAP pullback here. We'll look to see if it comes back slightly underneath VWAP towards 457.30s. I like it, though. Really nice looking chart at Microsoft. I'm looking at big boys trying to play some of that. SBET was a play that I could have played early on in the morning. A little frustrated it wasn't playing it. I'm telling you guys, man, I would have made it a killing on that thing. I was watching it for 9 EMA break at 8:30 for the 2250 break. But I get on Trader TV at 8:45. I was like, no, Mitch, you can't open trades at 8:30. But trust me, that SBET looked great.
You can open trades and you do stuff like that if you have a robot.
If I had the robots.
Just saying. I had a robot. Keep hearing the robots coming, and I'm here for it.
So the OKLO trade is kind of working, honestly. I'm a little... I got a short leash on it. Just if it loses low a day, I don't need to. I don't need to deal with chop outs.
Well, while we're bouncing here on the SPY, I think the main thing is, right, so we got VWAP, and then we've got this pre-market low sitting right overhead.
Clean
so
spark.
what happens when we get there? Do we just reverse from it entirely, or is that just a liquidity sweep, right? Because if that is just a liquidity sweep right off the open, scare a bit of people. Some people taking profits from anyone who bought Friday is loving life this morning.
Oh, yeah.
Just to see if it's one of those things where do we just rip it through, and then if we get through that area and hold, we're rocketing to new highs, or do we just bump our head against this and kind of fail? So, with Mitch, right, he's trading the crypto miners. Bitcoin's doing essentially the exact same thing, right? Pulled back a little bit. This is roughly the same low as we saw in the SPY. And now it's ripping through. So acting like a risk asset again, which is what it is. So it makes sense that that's what it's acting as.
Yeah.
This and that.
Sorry,
that area is 586 is just going on.
Microsoft just did that move off the 457.30. Sorry to interrupt, guys. Just taking that look. Might take a shot on that one. I'm still long clean spark, guys.
Absolutely, I like it. Michael, I just wanted to highlight, like, I love keeping an eye on that reclaim level, because that's like my favorite setup in the market. Just if a level broke, and it reclaims, let's rock, let's roll, because we just shook people out. Like you said, the contrarian trade is up here, so I'm totally in for it. Looks like I just got filled on a trim for OKLO at 48.25. Nice. Decent little bounce there.
Yeah, right up to VWAP there.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to find a way to systematize this, but me and Mitch have been talking about this one forever, and it's not a it's not a new thing that we invented or anything. But you're right. As soon as we look a little bit scary, the question is, how fast do they come in and buy? Right? If that happens really, really quickly, then it's saying that everyone's very excited to just get in and buy a bunch of stock. Then you generally have a good trade on your hands because it just quickly kind of rallied right back up. So that's, again, this area, it's like 586. That's where I really think if we're above that and we can hold it for any length of time, I think that we're off to the races here. Next target would be pre-market high, and then I don't know, all-time highs. Who knows?
Yeah. AAP giving me an alert towards 48, so that means it's pulled back further than a lot of people expect. I would look to see if it starts to reverse in a little bit. I'll be watching to see if it gets back above VWAP. That's 49. I'll let you guys know if that happens. Watching clean spark on this pullback. We're going to look to see that it holds the intraday low.
I like it. Yeah, I'm probably mostly done for trading. I got the RGTI short, and this OKLO long just put me nice and green overall after scaring me there in the morning. But so I'm gonna trade a little light here. I'm not 100% sure that SPY is sticking this move. I think it might need some consolidation, maybe a double bottom. So OKLO, I do see the relative strength here, and I like your RCKT there as well. That's looking good.
Grinding. PDD is not. So 2 of 3. I'll take it. PDD looks like it's probably going to break me out here.
Support.
Nice stick. That looks like we want to go up.
Support recovery strategy on ARM looking good today. So that's another one, the one that we've been talking about. Just like to mention those so you guys can see it and see that we're seeing something, right? So the key is how can we capitalize on it? But I'm seeing it there. ARM, good looking 130 cut down, 2 or 3 times it cuts, right back through. Bullish engulfing look, back through the VWAP.
Man, I love seeing those sticks on SPY though, where big sharp drop, big decent buyer coming in, then it pulls back a little and just instant big stick back up. So to me, I got my head on a swivel. I think it wants up. We'll see though.
Another name I really like today, Tempest AI, guys.
Such a banger. I've been in since 47, I think 48. That's been a fun trade. That's one of
another good one in health. If you like these names, Steve, you're looking at these. GRAL. A lot of eyes on this one. Looking for it to break 43. Big watch on that name. It's a cancer detection stock, so I can show you guys that. Here you guys see the look there.
That's a tight chart,
and that's a daily chart. So
nice
looking, kind of like cup and handle looking pattern. They can get above that 43 high or towards 50s. It's really on a breakout. We'll see what happens on that. Clean Spark trying to get going here, but trying to hold off the low here and not going to let it break the kind of like the 55 here. It could tap it, but I don't want to see it like 954. Is really looking for a breakout back towards the 970s. Let's see what happens here.
Yeah, this is one of those days where, right, if you go on the daily chart of the SPY, kind of red off the open and it's battling back to green. So if it can get back up there to green, then that could again propel us quite a bit higher. And then 595 is going to be the obvious watch level. I don't think we have any kind of catalyst that could get us there today, but also we do have a Trump who could just say anything anytime he wants. So that certainly could get us there today. We have some consumer confidence and in 14 minutes and some Fed manufacturing after that, but not a big thing, right? Those are relatively small numbers, but could be something. So we're struggling back to get green here on the day. Very, very close.
Sorry to interrupt, but you brought up the GRAL, and I think that looks like it wants to go right now. I'm trying to get a fill if it comes back a little bit, but
yeah, a lot of eyes on this thing, guys. A lot of eyes on this thing. This GRAL. I like Tempest, and these two are the two healthcare names I like today. I love that break back above the VWAP. For Tempest here. I'd like a 65.20s, but I don't think you'll get it there. You're already above that. Look at the trades that I'm trading, guys. I got Microsoft also on. This is a 457 reversal back up on that undercut of VWAP, trying to get it to bullish engulf candle back up there. We'll see if we get it, guys. Trades are on. I'll pull Steve out. He took a step away, but no worries. We'll get you back, Steve. No worries. You're good.
Sorry, Kat was being a little unruly there. I didn't realize how good my mic was until people are like, "What is going on with your animal? Or is she okay?" She's a little worked up sometimes. Okay, posted a nice reversal stick, so I'm still in that trade.
All right, I like this Microsoft first move here, guys. This is where I want to add. I don't have enough to add the amount that I was looking, so I'm going to go a little less, but still looking to get in this and start adding there. Microsoft getting into the green here. Going to look for Clean Spark to go ahead and jump here. Let's see it. Now look at Clean Spark's pattern. You see how it's like this trend line break here for 963. At this point, I'm at 960, so I can go break even and just let this ride. Go for the breakout above 970s. I'll be up $50 there. We're going to sell some into that move. Maybe it's 975, something like that. And then I'll look to keep the remainder on here on Clean Spark.
I like it. That's a nice trade. Looks like it wants expansion to me.
All right.
So I see an imbalance on OKLO at 48.78. I have my orders at 48.75 for a nice profit take. So one more push up, and I'm going to be down to small runners. I really like GRAL though. I want some of that. I took a tiny position just because the spread was wide. I didn't want to get chopped out too hard.
So, yeah, you can show us what you think on that chart there, and how you'd like to trade it. There we go. We'll take a look at Grail.
Well, and Mitch, quickly, right? No, you were just saying you were looking for more buying power for Microsoft. Remember, MSFU and MSFD are the leverage.
MSFU is a funny ticker.
Yeah, what I like is that's one of those breakout charts. Like Microsoft's is on a breakout, but it's doing a bullish move today. To me, it's one of those where it's trying to run away, right?
So yeah, some leverage. You could short the MSFD, which is the inverse, or you could buy, and then it's a 2x, and it's only $40, right? So you're gonna get 2 times the move out of that guy.
All right, I am down to a quarter position in OKLO. My target hit. I am looking to move some of that capital into GRAL, but it's just a little bit. It's not a huge spread, but it's a little bit up there.
Shorting GameStop here.
Oh, the hero.
Don't at me, but yeah.
Yeah, don't at you with that trade.
No, I see it. It should have.
I can't blame you. But
it's VWAP to VWAP, and it's a 2.5 R trade. So I'll take it. The fact that it's not going up with the market, kind of makes me more confident on it. So.
Stopped out Microsoft break even on that pullback. I remember I added. So what I did was I just get out and I'm looking for it to recover VWAP again. That's 458. If it recovers it, I can get back in. I'm watching AMD here on a VWAP recovery. It's doing a VWAP recovery type of move. We'll see what happens on AMD today.
So yeah, really quick on GRAL, what I'm seeing is that it's a significant. It looks really strong, and we have a significant level to sweep up here at 4409. So that's what I'd like to see negotiated, and I think it wants to go higher, but that's fortune telling. So I will be trimming there and seeing what happens. I also, Michael, I'm just biting all your trades here. I needed a hedge, so I grabbed a little bit of the GME short too, and you're killing it, dude. You're killing it.
Your boots, not me. It's a system. I just can't wait. Michael, if you're listening, for a robot to do these for me. I will take my own money and buy the biggest account you guys have, because if a robot does it, then I'm just way more confident that then I'll do it. Because all I'm doing now is I'm hearing the British man say order filled, and then just trying to quickly mirror. But yeah, this is a good setup to take. And if you look at GME on like a 15-minute or a 30-minute chart, it just looks like a giant topping tail. Right. So there's people sucked in there for sure, right? Grab this on. I love it. It's a 30-minute chart. So we talked about
GME. Where do you like? Are you just targeting your 2-day VWAP for that as well?
Yep. So that's sitting at 3270.
I love it.
I'll probably do just a little bit over like 33 just for the whole number.
Yeah, no, I'm seeing what you're saying. That's kind of like the bottom of the volume shelf here, and it just basically be renegotiating the breakout. Which I mean, so either it holds or maybe it doesn't. So I'll be taking some off right around there. I like the 33 handle, and then let a little run though. I think for me.
Well, yeah, the hope is right the low here. If it undercuts this low at 73.75 or 33.75, right? Maybe you get a little bit of a flush, and that's probably where I'll cover in there as well, right? So.
Yeah, I like it. I love when because I'm not watching your 2-day VWAPs, but I love it when I have a level that just coincides with it. It's just really comfortable. That confluence between trading styles is really nice.
I think big watch here, guys. I did get out of CleanSpark there for the $10 loss, like a 2-tick loss there. Looking to see what happens here if it wants to start coming back up, but we'll watch the cues to give the signal here to see if we wanted to keep running.
It's weird. We're getting right just over the short term. We're getting the SPY moving up, and then we're getting Bitcoin moving down, and that's
interesting. So I think there's some of that kind of repositioning. Like, okay, this was running a little hot. Now we have a new batch of liquidity, new cohort of traders. Let's get some motion in the ocean. You know.
Yeah, it's a bit of a split there. Generally, you don't see that. Again, it's only 20 minutes of it. But it's just a little bit interesting. And then again, we're flirting with the opening price. That seems to be the biggest thing. But we're holding over VWAP. We're not quite holding over that pre-market low level that I think was important. So it seems like it's interesting to potentially, if we can get through that level, then again, it's the next day's high. That is interesting.
Should have been focusing on my market wizards trades that I've been talking about. And what's that trade? That's the cybersecurity names. I've been talking about them. How some of these bigger guys have been watching this for swings on CrowdStrike. I've been talking about Zscaler. I talked about Snow all last week. Look at Snow now, continuing the breakout. And it did a little small pullback today. Got bought right back up, back to 207 almost now, guys. That is a big breakout for Snowflake.
No, I love it. I mean, these cyber security names have been. I've been holding Zscaler for a while now. I think since 210, and it's just the most comfortable trade. It's just so easy. It's like, okay, you get the high beta growth basket push, but you also have like some of that kind of cushion because in our current environment, maybe you need more CrowdStrikes than you do Netflix exposure, something like that. It's the risk reward is better, I think, on the longer term charts, and I really love them personally.
I agree.
GME looks like it wants to pop the bottom out here, by the way. Michael, you're just cash money today. I love it. Cash money.
So I'm redoing some. So this is one of those because the 2-day VWAP on this Rocket Pharmaceutical is coming down so fast. If I keep the original stop loss and target now, it's like a 1-to-1. So I'm just kind of raising up the stop a little bit and adding some here because you can see we got a second kind of green arrow buy, and that makes it about a 1.5 trade. So we're watching that.
Look at Tempest go, guys. I don't know why I'm not. I don't know why I miss Tempest sometimes, guys. And maybe it's just because I look at other plays. But man, this is one of those where I like it so much I don't trade it.
That's fair enough. Well, that's my strategy. I'm just
It
holding.
happens sometimes.
I got in
It
really
happens.
low.
Look at that. That's a nice breakout today on that one. Another one that just recovered VWAP. SMR is just recovering VWAP. So you might start seeing some of these start to play a little catch up that have been hit down there in that game. Of course, we're talking small nuclear reactors. We'll see what happens here, guys. Q's still didn't pull back much on that pullback right now, so I might play here Clean Spark again.
You know, I love what you're saying on SMR, and you know that's kind of my logic on why I'm in OKLO right now. But I just think it's so worth noting that it seems like a big intraday pullback, right? But really, it just printed a nice tidy bottom wick, just kind of picking up buyers into Friday's close, like we were kind of talking about, you know, with other stocks at least. GRAL looks like it's cooking here for me, so I'm just hanging out in all my trades here. I got OKLO runners, GRAL, GME runners here. It's a good day. Got some good motion here.
Yeah, looking good, man. Looking good out there, guys. Let's get after it. Let's see what we can do, traders. Will the Qs go for the high of the day break here? I'm looking for it to break the pre-market high. I like Microsoft also. I'm seeing CrowdStrike break out to the upside. A lot of names starting to push towards the top end there. So take a look there. And Tesla still hanging up at the top end of the range. That's a good thing to look at. Google strong today also. If you want to take a look at Big Boy, that's looking good on the recovery of 172. So, hey, a lot of action out there, guys. You going to cash in there, Michael? You done on that GME?
I'm watching it to battle that low.
I saw the green. I saw the green.
I'm getting a little nervous, but
I think
should
it's taking its time.
Okay. All right, Steve. Thanks. You gotta talk me off the edge right now. So because it's
off the ledge a little bit, you know.
I should listen to my system. My system says, listen, hold till the 2-day VWAP. If at this point it gets and we get a close back above VWAP, then the trade's over. So that's going to be roughly. And again, I don't like just moving the stop. I'm not the tinfoil hat that thinks they know care where my stop is, but I find using bar closes gives that kind of natural wiggle anyway. So that's why I say, hey, if we get a 2-minute close now over VWAP, then it's time to go. That gives a chance for it to spike and come back down. But that's what I should do. But it's one of those, it's weird as a more experienced trader when you're having such a good day like this, you almost get more nervous than when you're having a bad day to hold on to a trade. Because a lot of these trades have been working well. PDD is holding on by like the skin of its teeth. It hasn't stopped me out yet. So there's a chance for everything to do a winner today. But I was sure that PDD was going to stop me out there, like certain of it.
Well, that's the thing, though. That's why your system's so great, or systems in general, right? Because it doesn't matter how sure we are, because we identified the potential risk reward already, and we already defined our risk. And if it gets us, it gets us. But like you said, if it comes up over VWAP, well, then I won't want it anymore, you know? So it'll be easy to stop out then. Till then, I'm going to let it do its thing and wiggle out.
And I think it's all about Bitcoin, right? So with GameStop, right, if this pullback continues, which again, Bitcoin being relatively weak to the SPY, I don't think is something I've ever really said, but it is right now. So if we get a continued pullback in Bitcoin, that's going to continue to sell GME, even when we see things like NVIDIA and Tesla and all these big tech names doing fine, because I don't know why. It's again, Bitcoin usually moves like lockstep with the Qs, but right now it's not. My worry is that Bitcoin's been a bit of a leader recently over the past little bit. So is it telling us something? But you know, Tesla is looks like it's going to break out to new highs of the day.
Yeah,
you have IBIT looks like it's rolling over potentially. So
Google trying to push to the top. Q's trying to push here. Let's see if it goes. I would love to see Microsoft dip through 457 again and then back through 457.50. That's where I'm going to go long, guys. Trying to give you guys a little bit longer outlook on that Microsoft. I've gotten in and out of it today. Break even. I'm looking to get back in. Just need to be watching it here.
So I'm looking for a little foothold in Tesla long. It's looking strong to me, man. It's looking strong to me. I think Tesla had some room. It was a pretty good daily setup, I think. Oh, and real quick, Steph, I really appreciate that. It was good to see you in there. Good to see you asking questions and dropping knowledge for the chat there. So appreciate you, man. Hope to see you next time too.
Really strong chart is AMD here, guys. If the Qs can break out, I think AMD can really move. There's the break through the 114. We'll see if AMD wants to really go.
See, it just needed a wiggle out, you know.
It's looking better now. I like the bounce and the failed
Sometimes it
attempt.
just needs a little wiggle. Do.
Oh, the old Mitch, we're old because that's an old song, I think, but I'm right there with it. RAL is doing the thing. I think it's about to go here. Just
AMD, there's a nice break on 114, guys. I'd just like to mention multiple charts for you guys. I'm not just one name, right? There's AMD. Nice break through the 114. Recovery of VWAPs. Been holding 90 EMA all day. We know how momentum is on AMD, and when it moves like this, I like it. That 114 holding well.
Tesla is going now, too.
Yeah, the SPY is...
Good eyes. Google's doing well also.
Recovering. So we're recovering now and bouncing pretty well. On that area, we did get that again. Not a huge news event, but we did just get CB consumer confidence that came in way higher than the forecast. I don't know what any of those words mean, but cool. Consumer is confident, I guess. Good for them.
Microsoft doing really well.
Also, comment here by my boy MXD. Did anybody take a look at the bill flow Friday? I didn't take a look at it in detail, but I heard it looked strong. I thought I saw I know I saw a bunch of flow. I think it was bullish. I'll have to take a closer look at that. But Bill's a fun momentum name for sure. When it gets going, it gets going. As you can see there, yeah.
Yeah.
Ethereum holding a 9 EMA. That's ETHU off the 67, looking like it wants to push back to 68. That looks like a good trade there. We'll see what happens if Ethereum wants to keep running. Microsoft took off there to the 458.50. It's probably not going to be able to catch up to that one unless I want to risk a buck off the 457s, but looking good, guys. There's some charts out there. Really nice looking charts. Microsoft, Google.
I like this Microsoft look. I like the... Right, the pullback. It looks kind of like that kind of rounded bottom style action.
Yeah. Big resistance, 460, guys. That's the daily resistance for the breakout. We'll see if it breaks out above that.
Google.
So let's see. I took the tiniest nibble of Tesla just because I didn't think it was going much lower, but I put a tight stop under the past like 5-minute swing low. So I just want some more juice on some of these names because they look real strong. Basically under your VWAP there. So.
Yeah, Bitcoin's digging in here a little bit anyway. So we just need this big shelf here at kind of like the 109.8 area. It looks like it's pulling back, looks like it's digging into this area. So it seems like a good area to hold. So call it 110, right? This 110 zone.
Broke.
If that continues, because that's the only thing lagging that I see right now, which is weird, right? Every sector here is up. Energy is a little bit behind. Every sector here is up, but yeah, Bitcoin isn't participating. So I kind of think we need to see that, which is so weird considering this asset literally didn't exist a few years ago. But I think it needs to take part in these rallies now, just to really show people that yes, it's risk on time.
Man, those morning dip buys in the nuclear space. Oh, cash money. I was like, why am I up so much? And I just scroll down. I have too many positions open in my tiny little position window. I was like, oh, I have OKLO runners that are up like 115 ticks.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with. I'm telling you, those energy names, they dipped, they got bought there. I'm looking at the NRG. That hasn't come back yet, but looking for one that hasn't come back to maybe grab. CEG right back above the VWAP.
Robinhood, holy smokes, just dips off the morning and rips up 5%.
Don't talk to me, man. I think it was last week right here where I got run. Remember when Hood just took off on me, guys? Man.
And well, this daily chart, right? You've got a cup and handle look here, and then if you zoom out, you've got a right. So it's kind of like
all cup and handles.
Yeah. So no, this looks good. Again, a better place to look at.
My take profit, by the way. I still have half of that position on, but man,
nice.
That's a good trade.
I don't know why you ever have these lines and you're like, I don't know where this line came from. I drew this line at some point. I have no idea why. I have to like zoom out to try to see why you were.
Why do you matter?
What the hell you were looking at?
That AMD has been a nice break, almost a full point on AMD now from that break of 114. Gave it to you guys before that 114 break, looking good. VIX just collapsing now down to 54 on the VXX, so big drop there. No move back. Q's just rising and rising after that pre-market break, going towards pre-market highs now. We'll see if it breaks 518.39s, 518.40s.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm about to take a trim off on Tesla just because it worked real fast there.
Archer taking off. SMR leading my watch list, man. It's back up to almost 32 already. What an undercut of 30 back to 32. That is strength there.
Yeah, baby.
Pony looking strong too, holding in. Tesla looking strong. Archer, Mara. Mara was the better one of the two. Remember I talked about how that one had the bigger undercut. It should have gone with that one instead of Clean Spark. Got out on Clean Spark for a loss there, but Mara has been holding up really well all morning long. We'll look for that to see if it can continue. ARM looking good. AMD's on that list. Snow's on that list that's doing well in the green. The trend trade that keeps going, MOS. Man, I've talked about this now for like 2 or 3 weeks. It's continued.
What MOS? Oh, Mosaic, right.
Yeah, Mosaic. It's a potash.
Potash.
Trade, right? Potash trade. CF. CF is another one that you can see right next to those charts. Those look literally like hand in hand, guys.
Yeah, CF is the quality name, so it makes sense that Mosaic. I mean, man, look at that. Oh, no red days. Beautiful.
Yeah, and look at this. Look at this on MOS. I mean,
yeah, no red days. I mean, that's a massive change of character because I traded the heck out of this to the downside after I tried to trade the heck out of it to the upside and got chopped out a billion times and learned, hey, it's so much easier to just short this thing.
The biggest falls can start the biggest rise right back up, right? That's why I like kind of.
Well, and these are tariff winners, right? So what's happening with these? I know a bit of this because I'm Canadian, right? So basically, America dies if Canada stops giving it its potash, and that's why these companies were sucking for so long, is because our potash is way cheaper. So people weren't buying the American one. So those are a couple companies that would benefit off any sort of Canadian kind of tariff. I believe both of those. I don't know if both those are American or not.
Mosaic definitely is. I believe CF is as well.
Yeah. Mosaic. So yeah, you can't grow all the food you need to feed your people without the potash from here. So I think a lot of people are saying, well, if there's going to be a fight back and forth or some sort of tariffs, then more people are going to buy the MOS and CF potash, and that's why the price is rallying. So it's a rare stock that's going up because of all this tariff stuff as opposed to everything else that's selling off. So and just the base breakouts that Mitch was showing there just look amazing, right? It's just when you have a change of character like that, that you have so many people who are short and so many people who are underinvested because if you were short that stock and you just held it, you were just making money for like 3 years not doing anything. So all of a sudden you wake up and that profit's shrinking dramatically, that people cover and so on and so forth. Right?
I notice this more and more too, right? So the best trades, guys, and I've seen these happen when there's a fundamental change between the company, right? Something like tariffs where it wasn't expected to happen. Now all of a sudden things are different. That's when you're going to see the best reactions from any stock. So you think about stock moves like that and you look for that type of change. Has something dramatically changed in the fundamentals that are now affecting the story and the technicals of that stock? Then from there, all you got to do is look at the market and say, are you in a euphoria style market for that style of move? And your answer is yes. Now you have high conviction to take these styles of trades, guys. That's why I talked about like an AAP style trade for swing. big earnings report that completely flips the mentality of investors, could be that type of change, right? Those are the types of stories that you catch a big trend run. When Palantir started to really make a big move, what was it? It was everyone looking into the fundamentals and all of a sudden saying, but this is a great looking stock, contracts lining up. The contracts add to the fundamentals that completely changed the look of the company overnight.
Right.
And then you can get the big run. Then you can run on story and technicals with a nice company, right?
Well,
So
and Mitch,
Go ahead.
Palantir is such a great example. Sorry to cut you off.
No. I think it's important. Go ahead.
I think Palantir is such a great example because, like you're saying, like people were short because it went from 14 to 100, and then all of a sudden, fundamentals kept getting better on the way up. So it's kind of like Uber in that regard, where they got cheaper in some regards the higher their stock price went. So
let me find it. There was an amazing chart that our partner TrendSpider put out on the weekend. Let me find it.
You pull that up. I want to give someone in the chat their love for the day. So we're going to give a little money rain action to someone in the chat here. My man, Zero Gravity Zen. I don't see you too often in the chat there, my friend, but I see you dropping this little nugget here. Google going to go for that Google pre-market high. You didn't have to put your post, man. I catch you. Good job, man. Congratulations out there. I see you breaking that pre-market high. It was a good looking chart and great trade. If you were able to nail that one in the profits, got to give it to you. Good comment. Also, you said why you were looking at it, not just throwing it up there. I appreciate it in the chat.
100%. And this is great because I talked about it in my newsletter that I'm looking to long Google. I missed it this morning, unfortunately, but long Google and short Apple as a pair trade. I think that,
I like it.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of reasons why this it fits into my larger thesis of basically software outperforming hardware with the the crunch to supply chains and tariffs impacts, which I believe have not started to actually be really priced in. That can always change, and that's why I want a long on the mega cap side as well. I think Google's chart, it's underperforming some of the leading megas, but I think a lot of that is overhang from the court case, the regulatory issues, which seem to me to be overstated. So I think that there's a lot of reasons why if the market goes up, Google will outperform Apple, and if the market goes down, Apple will outperform Google to the downside there.
Yeah, so this is what I was talking about for Steve's point of making sure you have, if you're someone who says, oh, this thing's too expensive because it was back to a price it was. This is our buds at Robinhood, our buds at TrendSpider put this out, and I like this on the weekend, where the lower chart here is the forward PE, right? So even though it's at the same price it was before, because the fundamentals have been growing so much on the interim, it was 109 PE when it was back at this price before, and now it's only 48. So if you're a fundamental person, even though Robinhood's at the same price right now, technically speaking, it's half the value. So if it gets back to where this was trading on a 100 PE multiple before, that has us at like $128 a share. So these are kind of interesting charts. Even as someone who doesn't really care about fundamentals that much, they're charted, so it makes it a little bit more interesting to me. But it's easy to see, right, that they're just basically saying that even though the price is the same as it was, the company's cheaper than it is overall, right? And that was kind of to Steve's point too, that a lot of these things, when a fundamental shift changes, then you have to kind of throw out all your old prices out the window. And that's what trends are, right? That's what we're trying to do with trends, is saying, right, people are buying this and they're probably buying it for a reason. So we're just looking at that repricing.
Yeah. Well, honestly, that's such a perfect chart because Hood is just such a high conviction play for me. The more you zoom out, the more bullish it looks, and the more you start getting like a Palantir type vibe. And for me, I love Hood, but I also love Roblox, and Roblox seemed to be leading Hood on the way up. So I would definitely expect a similar type follow through on Hood here, just because they're not the same, but they're definitely in a lot of the same baskets. So same with Tempest, TEM. These games are really, really, really good for momentum because you have the confluence between that juice, that high beta, but also like these companies are being priced out of the bad company. I'll temper my language. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Those bad companies that just have really high beta, but now they're starting to like shape up as legitimate companies. Like remember the narrative shift from Palantir from being a crapco, let's call them, and
that's what you look for, guys. I'm telling you this. I've seen it too many times, and it's part of why I try to use the different variables, right? Having technicals, fundamentals, story, and I love story approaches. What you want to look for is that shift in the fundamentals. That's what's going to get you to catch the rocket before it becomes a rocket, right? So you catch when that shift happens and watch how the money flows into the name after that. It's a great way to find a really good trend trade that can continue to win over time. All right, guys, we'll see what happens. A lot of stocks breaking out. Microsoft, I'll call that a miss. Probably misplayed too. I could have risked it off the 47, but what happened was I was in the green with CleanSpark almost like $50. So I put break even on Microsoft and it came back and got me. But the original risk of 457 on Microsoft would have been really well. We'll look for Microsoft to break the high here. And Tesla's looking really great. It broke the 355, getting up there, breaking out above the 350s. So that looks great for you, Steve. That looks like it can continue to make a big run up there. And we'll look to see what happens in the other kind of energy players. SMR still leading my action today. That just goes to show you, yeah, someone asked earlier, are the nuclear plays dead? Well, SMR is telling you it ain't dead, baby. It ain't dead. And it's also showing me that SMR is that much better than NNE. Yeah. That's what that's telling me. That's what's telling me that the financial analysts, the smart guys that dug deep, they looked into it and said NNE. Yeah, the ones in the basement that Michael talks about. They said that we're going to go with SMR over NNE. That doesn't mean that you can't play NNE. That means you look for weekdays on NNE, strength on SMR, and for something to work out, right? You can pairs trade it too, right? Yep. Because we've been talking about more strategies like that. That's one thing that I want to do more and more breakdowns of things like that here. So if you guys enjoy that, let us know, because that's what we're trying to find out more, is what you guys want to learn from. So many trades we've talked about today that have done well. I don't think that's a problem here. That's for sure. Whether it be Steve, Michael, or I, we all three have called a really nice trade today. And what is that doing? That's just focusing also on the action. Look at the Qs now, breaking and continuing, guys. It's been some strong rally here, even though we got a little bit of a pullback out the gates. What are we doing too? We're just staying with the market, right? So you got to stay with the trend right now. I talked about it this morning that this market is riding a wave right now. It's a new wave, that's why the thumbnail was rally alert, right? This is a shift. Whenever you can shift the bears where they get screaming out there and then they get on the run, those are shifts. So the rally could potentially happen today. That's why I like names like the big boys. We're seeing them get picked up. Microsoft, Tesla, Google. I'd look for Meta to end the day green. Look for even maybe Apple going green today. Oh, that tells you. That will tell you something, right? And look how Apple's trying to recover VWAP right now for that 198.
Well, I meant to say this when Steve was talking about his Apple short. Just remember, there's a big event coming in next week, I think. Okay. Their WWDC, right? So that's all software focused. So I would just be, right? It's one of those things you never know with them, right? It could be a complete stinker and the thing could completely fall apart, or I guess, again, I'm a bit of an Apple fanboy, so I pay a little attention to this, but they're just trying to clean up the differences between the phone and the computer and the iPad, which I have all these things sitting on my desk right now. So a lot more talk about like AI and things like that, because right now their AI sucks. So yeah, Theory is
what AI? They don't
so dumb compared to Google. It makes me so mad. Like, because I've got those Google the mini, right, the Apple mini things all over the place. And I'll just ask it the weather. I'll be like, hey, ask from your phone. I'm like, no, it's 2025. Tell me what the weather's going to be like today, you dumb piece of machinery. So, it could be one of those things. If they sell people enough, maybe it could try to get into the whole AI thing. Because, right now, like Mitch was saying, they're just piggyback off ChatGPT. You ask something to your phone, And if it doesn't know, it's like, hey, you want to ask ChatGPT for it? It's like, no, you're one of the biggest companies in the world. I want you to just tell me. I want to talk to my phone. I want to have it do the thing, like Perplexity and ChatGPT and DeepSeek and all these guys can do. Come on now.
Well, continuing, AMD looks interesting here as it holds the 9 EMA. We'll look to see if it's a big momentum day. What I like AMD is that it's been on a nice daily flag pattern, also starting to push above the 9. Remember how I talked about looking for stocks that broke a short-term moving average and are quickly coming back above that moving average. That's what I'm seeing on a lot of charts today. Those slight undercuts on the daily, a lot of flags out there, a lot of pennants. And then what are they doing? They're undercutting their short-term right back above. So what does that tell me? Trend traders still on.
Just to your point here, do you mind popping my chart up here for Tesla?
Yeah,
gotcha. That's fine.
Awesome. So it's a little messy here. Forgive me. This is a heavily traded one for me. Let me.
Whoa!
I know. Well, okay. On this layout, I had all.
Michael, we're gonna have a meeting. We're gonna have a meeting with Steve. We're gonna have.
Look, I'll tell you. You use the downloaded app. You right click. You duplicate the tab. You link them together, and then you have like a clean version and a messy version. I can send you up in 5 minutes.
Screenshot this and put it in chat.
Shame me, chat.
I'll do it.
I can take it.
Screenshot this and put it in chat GPT. Ask it to design it, man.
No, this isn't a victory lap. I just wanted to note that this red line here for me is it's the 50% level between the high and the low. It's trying to test it with power. It's got room up like $30-40 in a day or two, like let's call it this week, if it can stick a move over this level. So I'm keeping a very close eye on here. I'm holding my swing. I am feeling judged, but that's okay.
That's okay.
Part of this.
Good.
Never will I. I'll always open a clean tab now whenever I share anything.
I use, and I can show you here, but like I've got because a little exposure here, but like this is what I look at. I like the black and the green, right? But I have all these linked so that, and this is why I can shift back and forth between the time frames, right? So if I type in AMD here or SPY here, it will update in this tab too. So you could have one tab that is your whole, and you just need the downloaded app for this instead of, which is just a Chrome web browser anyway. But yeah, you could have one that's your all your indicators, everything you need to trade, and then right. I'm just using on Mac, but I think on Windows it's like Command or Control 1 2 3. I just use Command 1 2 3, so I can just pop back from, for me, the different time frames. But then also, right, this is if my screen's not on, I'm watching this chart, right, and it's just got some charts, some stuff that I'm watching. So I love that's how I would do it. So then we're not completely changing the way you do business, but you got, plus I usually have a clean version for like sharing to the internet, right? So I can screenshot something that's right. Yeah. So you just right click, duplicate, and then right, link it, and then just remove all the indicators from it, and away you go.
I love it. Like 2 seconds. This is just with the app, not just a
to download it.
Okay, I'll get right on that. That's my impetus.
The linking is cool too, and this is partly for the viewers because soon you're going to be able to trade directly through this to trade the pool soon too with Signal Stack, I think it's called. And you could have you can pull these out, so you could have all over your screen a bunch of different thumbnail charts, and when you type in one ticker, it changes. So I have like a weekly chart below me and just right, and they all link to red, and then I've got the stock screener also linked to red. So as I click through it, right, everything updates and changes here as well. So this linking is super cool, and you can only do it if you download their app, which is again it's like a Chromium web browser. So it's just you're just downloading a separate web browser that's just exclusively for TradingView. So
okay, very cool. Thanks for putting me on there.
Oh, no worries.
Wow.
Yeah, I was saying you can always just snapshot something and just ask ChatGPT how I can better design this.
Oh, okay. I'm just okay, Mitch. You're gonna judge me. I'm just getting into the AI note taking, so this is good. I need to expand my AI.
Yeah, dude. You take a picture of your house and you say, "Make this look like a designer house." Oh. What do I need to go buy? He'll tell you what you got to go buy to make it look good.
Mhm.
It's
You want to
truly
make a
the
nice
golden
streaming
age.
setup. You go, hey, I want to be a master. I want to create a TV style production in my room. How do I adjust it? These are the kind of the size of room that I have. I have 3 monitors, 1 table. It literally will tell you what to do, man.
Everything, right? Like,
Everything.
so I'm in the car dealership. We're looking for another car, and of course they don't want to quote you the monthly payment. They want to quote you, here's the price of the car, and then here's the interest rate and all that. So as opposed to like asking them that, I just have ChatGPT on my phone. I'm like, okay, so right, $60,000 car, 3% interest rate. What's that on a monthly payment? It just goes,
Yeah.
And oh wait, and I from calorie counting to everything I run on my website to coding. So if you want to take, the other thing you could look at too is all of those indicators. If there is a way to combine those into one thing, ChatGPT could do that. You could give it all the indicators and say, combine this into one giant indicator, and then that's your Steve indicator. That a lot of people like to color the candles as opposed to actually have the lines on the chart. Go no go is a good indicator for that. There's a couple of these that the candles just get more green the more of them line up in your favor, and more red the more that don't. Like, and it is amazing at coding in PineScript, which is what TradingView uses. It's great at it.
And it's always improving, right? And we're going to teach you ways to use it here, guys. Look forward to a big series that I'll have Michael be working on that will include more AI conversations, right? And we're going to be doing some crazy videos on strategies, and we can keep working more systems, right? So, Steve, there's so much more, man, that you can lean in on AI. The fun part is using and talking to people that use it in really cool ways, right? Interesting ways. That's how I found out about that whole designer one, and it's how it's changing the whole space. Remember all those interior designers, right? That came out, there's literally TV channels for it. Well, guess what? AI will probably be designing majority of offices moving forward, majority of houses moving forward, majority of everything that has to do with architect is going to be done through AI. Engineers will be now more checking things than doing things. The same thing we're hearing in code development. Code developers are really getting destroyed out there because they're having to do double the amount of code with half the manpower. So things are changing out there. Those are the signs that you need to grab onto to make big investments. We did get a comment in the chat that I wanted to address here. Alex talking about Michael Burry from The Big Short. The Big Short. Don't worry. I don't worry about Michael Burry because I got these guys. These guys are my quants.
Michael Burry predicted the 20 of the last actual one sell-off. It's like every day is like the market's doomed. I think something actually breaks in these guys' brains. If you have one big call
trade,
that makes you real, you're looking for the next thing, and the whole time. But his returns, if you look at the returns of his fund, they're not bad.
No, he's done very well being correct about
because he's
towards Chinese, markets, and now he's short. So that's interesting.
He does this deep value investing, but then he talks smack online about the market selling. Meanwhile, he's buying a bunch of stuff. So, it's one of those look at what they do, not what they say.
100%. It's kind of like how Druck was saying that Nvidia was overvalued as he was buying it. It's like, okay, well,
because he's like, I'm a trend follower. So, well, it's why I show you guys the positioning data instead of the sentiment data. Is because I don't care what when sentiment hits extremes, maybe it's useful, but nobody answers these surveys anymore. It's not something that really means anything. But when it comes to positioning, it's where they it's you put your money where your mouth is. It's why I'm very interested in betting markets. As opposed to surveys for potential future of because it nailed, I don't know, and I know it nailed your guys' election. It nailed our election. It's nailed a bunch across the world where polls were dead wrong, and the election results were near perfect. So it's one of those, again, don't show me the what you're saying, because people can lie or whatever. Show me where you put your money, and I'm going to know exactly what you think about something. So I'm super pumped for the betting markets. I am working on strategies now where I want to take trades based off of what the betting markets are saying. I think that it's very, very hard to test because they're so new, but I think there's a lot of edge there of, so you look at like an Nvidia's reporting earnings tomorrow, I think. There's a betting market for it. What's the betting? I bet the betting market's going to be right. So, can you take a trade based off of, and then over time have edge, because they're not going to get it 100% right, but is there edge inside the betting markets that we could then put money into our real money? Same with like the whole Kalshi recession indicator that you plot that on the bottom of your chart. It seems slightly predictive to what the market's doing, because people are just saying, well, hey, if there's going to be a recession, I can hedge some of the recession by making the bet. And it's only like a 30% chance now, where when the tariffs were rampant, it was like a 70%. So again, there's always any new data point gets a quant very, very interesting because it's new. So it means the edge hasn't been completely pulled out of it yet. But anyway, rant over.
No, you're making such a great point, because I know you said this already, but it was so prophetic how much more accurate the betting markets were than the polls. And I'm jaded, so I don't give much value to polls anyway. Like you said, there's so many ways they can be misconstrued or manipulated. But the betting markets, though, I listen when people are putting their money where their mouth is. Like you're saying, an excellent data point that I'm really excited to kind of be able to leverage going forward. During the Canadian elections, my friend took a scalp, I guess you could say, on whatever.
Oh yeah, that late night. Yeah, there was a late night,
25% to obviously 100, like so quickly. Like
there was. I think, because I looked into it. So what Steve's talking about is that as the election was going on through Canada, there was this weird, it was almost a certainty for months what would happen. Yeah. Then there was this weird dip in the markets where it looked like the other party was going to win, but it didn't make any sense because there's none of the data. So a lot of people think it was someone just unwinding a position. Like they probably had bought way long ago, and then all of a sudden there's like a 90% chance they're going to win. At that point, you almost you want to take the money and lock it in. But yeah, there was this like really quick moment where you could have got in when this guy was unloading it and took the other side of it. I know a couple guys who did the same thing with just, put in a couple $100 and said, I don't, right? Because it's not like a riding came out and it was way different than anyone thought it would be. There wasn't anything like that. It was just anomalies. So, and again, I'm just the more these things come ubiquitous, the more liquidity is going to be in them, and I think even the better predictive chance they're going to have. I think it's very, very interesting and a data point we could certainly start to use. And I would like to be able to, I don't know if Kalshi has an API or not, but I think it's something that you could really start to have edge over a lot of people on, because it's just so new. No one's doing it yet.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what I would do is I'd find a way to combine that data with the options interest, like data, right? Like pretty much option contract data. And I would go with that and be like, does the contract market agree? Does like options agree to the events contracts, right? And if those agree, why not, right? That's where the leverage is in the market. So another thing could be catching like big flips though, also just using it as a sentiment indicator also, right?
Yeah, I like it as a sentiment indicator too. Like as Michael was saying, when somebody was unwinding that position and there was that really good opportunity there, to me it's kind of like the classic sports betting thing, where if the strong favorite is down 10 points in the quarter or in the first half in basketball, it's like it's a pretty safe bet statistically to just take the dip in the odds and just assume that the thing that probably is going to happen will happen, and they'll tighten up a little bit in the second half, Yep.
So one of my favorite football bets, bet the opposing favorite team, right? Like you're betting the favorite team as they go down a touchdown in the first quarter.
Exactly what I'm talking about there. I don't understand how sports ball works, so I don't do these myself. Also, I live in California, so we're a little bit behind, a little bit backwards in some ways. But I see my friends making free money doing this.
Yeah,
sports
those
betting.
are
I'm like, come
that's
on.
the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Take the strength, right? Take the strength, and always look for that team to go down and right out the gates. Give
Right.
yourself the time of the game, right? Because you're doing it first quarter versus like in the third quarter, right? Then I don't agree with it. But yeah, I used to do this all the time with the Chiefs all the time. They used to go down 10 points, and I used to bet the house every time. And
Easy
then
money.
hey, I think you can do the same thing with sports betting and event contracts. It's a cool way to think about it. I know you've been keeping an eye on that. 24-hour markets coming soon. Soon we'll be able to do this at 3 or 4 a.m. But I don't know if we'll be on there. But we'll find out, guys. We'll find out. Markets continued to go, but it's slowed down, right? So we're like on this little slow stair step. Do you guys see anything outsized right now? The one thing I would definitely bring up is, dude, this SBET doesn't want to stop. This thing's a complete monster of the day for sure. Up 472%. A little annoyed because when I was trying to trade this, guys, it was at like $24. But hey, that's just how it goes sometimes. This thing's up about 70% from there and just continuing to stair step higher. We'll see if it can just keep pushing. Now, one thing is for certain, this thing has done this before in the past. It did this in 2023 and then came right back down. So don't expect too much. And another good trick that this company did is they're doing an offering, like a crazy offering, right off of the backs of a split and off of a good earnings report. So they did the craziest PR scheme they could do to get this stock to really rip.
Insane move. Wow. I didn't realize it was so big. That's nutty.
Yeah,
Well,
nutty.
Just needs to get to $1,500 and then it's back to even.
Yeah.
Biggest thing I'm noticing right now is just the split of the SPY moving higher and then Bitcoin just not. Like, look at the sell-off that happened the last little bit in Bitcoin.
This is what's holding up the market too. I think a lot of
Ethereum.
people are using it as a leading indicator, right? At least I feel like they're using it. We'll see. Just to give a quick setup here that I think is a nice one to look at. I'm in this trade, so I wanted to also bring it back. Guys, the Mara and CleanSpark trade. Mara right off the VWAP there, looking like it's starting to get some buying. I'm in CleanSpark, going to look for it to really start getting hot and pushing back through the highs. Let's see if these can really start to move. Coin has been kind of weak this morning. Hood has been strong. We'll see if that can continue strong. MSTR has been on the bottom. You said it, Bitcoin pulling back there. Ethereum kind of hanging in there a little bit. We'll see if it can recover 67. That's kind of the look that I'm looking at there. And we'll see what happens with this trade. Into the green now. I need to get a nice little pop above this to get some of the loss back on the day. I did take 2 haircuts on CleanSpark, so trying to get those back on one trade. Let's see what happens, guys. CleanSpark.
Yeah, I added to my GME short off of the VWAP there, by the way. I need more shorts. I got too many longs floating around in my hedges, and I got stops on them, but I want to catch something if the market flips. Yeah.
Can't blame you for that outlook. We'll see what happens. I think the market is showing a little bit of pullback from that topping area. This is what I meant by the slowing down. You can see that, right? By the 1 minutes, just kind of going sideways here. Let's see. Do we get a VWAP pullback or do we continue just a trend, the epic trend higher? That's what I'm looking for. We'll see what happens. Do we recover the 9 or reject here? That's what I'll be looking at. There's the touch of the 9. Now let's see if it's a reject or a break above the 519, right? So we'll see what happens here. See how it touched it and reject really quickly. So that's what we're looking for. We broke the 9 EMA. Now we're trying to recover it. Let's see if it can come back in.
Yeah, so just looking, there's a Dallas Fed business activity that just came out. I think that's what caused the little move there in the market. Yeah, actually a couple minutes ago. Don't know what this means, but the number was less negative than expected. Again, just how much I focus on these things. It was,
my friend.
It was supposed to be a lot of negative, and now it's only a little negative. So
I was kind of laughing to myself when you were going deep into the fundamentals of Apple. I'm like, who is this guy? What did he do with Michael Noss CMT?
Oh no, it wasn't fundamentals. It's just I like tech. So I was their tools are cool.
Yeah,
So I think the important thing is also looking at the prior, right? So the prior was 30. You're talking about the Dallas, right?
Yeah, Dallas Fed Business May, blah.
So I think
Whatever all those
like
words
if
are.
you bring this in, it helps, right? So pretty much it's like business outlook, right? And you can see how we went from a negative 35.8, which is a scary number, to a negative 15, right? So it's just moving in the right direction, still negative, contracting, but not as negative, right? That's what we're seeing here. That's why I like to bring the prior number, like the consumer confidence. Look at this one that was released also at 10 a.m. This one was very positive, actually. The consumer confidence switching from 86 and the estimate being just a point up higher to going to 98. That shows you the flip on retail, right? The consumer confidence there really ripping higher there. So we'll look to see if this can continue riding the rally. You see how the Qs went right back above that 90 EMA. Let's see if the SPY did the same. Yeah, same. Now I'd look for that 90 EMA to hold on the pullback and look to see if we can just trend ride higher.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I think it's if Bitcoin, and this would obviously help out your trades too, Mitch, but if Bitcoin just stops going down, I don't even think it needs to participate that much. If Bitcoin just stops going down here, then I think the markets will just rocket, because it seems to be the only thing that's holding us. I'm looking through all these ETFs and everything. Everything's up. Everything's doing great. And then Bitcoin is holding us back. And that's the only thing that's really got me thinking, because like you mentioned, it's been leading us a little bit, and it's been a risk on indicator as well. So those two things pulling back, and my FARC coin, right, it's down a little bit from where it was earlier in the day. It's just got me a little bit on the back foot, saying, well, why everything in the market is rallying? Why is the risk off asset not going with it?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I mean, maybe it just needs to cool down a little bit, but I don't know. I wonder how much is so SPY goes up, Bitcoin goes sideways, then SPY pulls back, Bitcoin goes up even more. Maybe it's just kind of giving some room, in terms of the basket shifting. I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I think you also watch to see the SIT coins, right? But I think that, that's what you got to be looking for. See how those are reacting here. CleanSpark looking good, but it still didn't do the complete breakout here. So I'm looking for a little bit more of a lift here. We'll see what happens. SPY kind of going sideways, right? We're getting that sideways action. But yeah, Bitcoin, and you guys can see it in the Bitcoin. We can do BITO, all right? You can see how it's pulled back there. But it looks very similar to like kind of ETHU's chart, where it's just kind of fighting and trying to recover that VWAP. So I would just continue to watch that. If the SPY can continue to move there, you can see the opposite. You can see a little bit of SPY kind of pushing up and keeping those Bitcoin investors in this. Another thing is, whenever Bitcoin breaks a huge psychological level, it has a tendency of pulling back a little bit. So it's nothing like uncommon. It's profit takers, right? And then you got to look to see if there's some rebuying coming in.
No doubt. I'm with you.
Mara, let's go break the high so CleanSpark can do the same. I definitely didn't pick the right one, but at least I was looking at the miners today. They're not doing bad. So I think it was a good setup there. We'll see if Hut can recover a little bit later. Riot above the VWAP also. Looking at different names there. You can look at Hive. I know there's plenty of different names.
Oh man, $2. That's sad. I traded Hive from 2 to a lot higher back in the day. Yeah, exactly. They just beat my babies all the way back down.
At least, sorry. Go ahead. You can mention a comment about Hive. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think that the Bitcoin miners, I love them for intraday trades. I think you're playing them perfectly, but I just don't see them as a value or a reliable proxy for Bitcoin anymore. And I think the market's kind of agreed. So I think that's shifting into stuff like GME, which is interesting.
But I think we can't forget though what they do, right? Yeah. In their business, right? I understand what you guys mean by proxy. The one thing that I would throw in there is that don't forget, as Bitcoin goes up, their fundamentals are changing. We talk about fundamental changes, right? Well, their fundamentals are changing right underneath them. They need Bitcoin higher so that they can make more money, right?
Sure.
So I think if Bitcoin, let's say, breaks 130, there's no reason not to look at these.
I guess I would say that there's kind of been differentiation within the subsector or the sector where you have the pure play miners like CLSK, Mara, Riot, the ones that really led the way on the initial kind of move in like whenever that was, the last Bitcoin cycle. And then you have the ones that the market has been rewarding, which seem to be ones that are focusing more on data center stuff. Exactly. So like names like IREN or other ones that I'm blanking on. But these ones seem a little bit better off the lows.
Platforms behind the trading. That seems to make sense. And but I think it's just the safer plays, right? Because at the end of the day, the other ones have to make money. And so the money isn't made until the asset appreciates to a level where it changes the fundamentals. So that's why I think that the thing is we look for miners to lead their laggard in their style, because essentially they're going to move after the appreciation, not prior to the appreciation. That's what I would think.
Yeah, I'm with you. Either way, they're so much fun. I mean,
I believe that the platforms were the best way to jump in if you wanted to jump in on the party for the 100K run, right? Coin has been that move. And when it does the S&P 500 ad and doesn't move back, that tells you more and more how people wanted to stay in this name, right? And then that's why I talked about Hood being a name that they'll just pick up also. I just get mad at myself. Man, we should have bought Hood underneath 10. Man, that's a nice investment. So if you're an investor in Hood and you got it near that $10, $12, shout out to you. You did a really good move in that. Catching in the chat, hey Mitch, is there RValve on TC? Yeah, there's RValve on TC. You got to find a different one, but there's this one here that can be coded. This one's more percentage, but there's so many things you can do. You can also just code it. That's the fun part of TC. You can just do coding, and you can actually ask ChatGPT to code you scanners on.
I was about to say, yeah, there's a really good made GPT, like a custom GPT that does their language really, really good. So you can just
look into TC. I think it's a really good platform.
I would take a look at it tomorrow if the nerds got currencies and crypto. Like, come on, guys. It's
I think and then I get annoyed because they sometimes they don't they just, it's an older brokerage and so I don't use their broker, but I use their platform. Here it is, guys. Clean Spark starting to make the move. Let's go Clean Spark. Let's get it up there. Let's get through that 970, make a run to 10 so that I can cash out and celebrate the day. Let's go, guys.
Yeah, and I might get out of my GME short here because it's starting to look like it's reclaiming VWAP and coiling. Yeah.
Mara breaking the high. That looks good there.
Well, I did the first break of VWAP there. We had the 2-minute close above VWAP back a bit, and I killed it.
I got greedy. I thought we were back testing and rejecting, so I'll take a little loss here. It's been a good day.
Look at that Ethereum recovery. Look, there it is, back through 67. That's why I'll look for BITO to come right back up there. We'll see if it gets back above 23.15s, but Ethereum taking a little lead here. I like the pattern right back above the 9. That 67 should hold now. We'll see if it holds on the pullback.
Yeah, it looks like looking at the.
Oh, look at this.
Just looking at Bitcoin as a whole, it stopped going down, right? That's all we need.
This pattern trade, Michael, we got to nail these trades. Look at ARM. 130 cut down, back towards 134. Nice daily trend. Broke the 9 EMA. Right back up, man. Looks good. Looks good on these.
The thing I like about those is that it's they're longer term setups, so it would reduce overall commissions. It would do. I could see you coming in every morning. These undercut and rally trades we're talking about on like a 30-minute chart or a 15-minute chart. I could see a process where you come in every day and you build a portfolio, like a long short portfolio of these guys, right? You buy a couple, you short a couple, like because that GME, right? We saw it was kind of the opposite of this. Yeah. And then you build this kind of portfolio and then you go. and then you close it all at the end of the day, and then you repeat. And just by doing that and tracking these, I really think you could do very well, because you try to shoot for like 10 of them and just trade them all really small, and then you have this nice portfolio of these undercut and rally type names. Because I don't think they're the best kind of traders, because we've seen them run forever. They seem like they're ones that you gotta pick your spot, you gotta take your trade, throw your stop loss, and just let them breathe, right? Let them go.
And small, because you got to give yourself the range, right, to the bottom of the low there, and sometimes that's going to have to go low size. But this helps, if anything. And with new swing plans that just dropped, hint, definitely take a look, guys, at our new swing accounts, guys. Want to take a second there to bring them up here. I'll bring them on the screen so you guys can learn a little bit more about that. But I think this is the strategy that we could definitely test on that, guys. We can be getting after it, right? So the new swing plans just dropped, guys. If you haven't checked them out, I would definitely take a look at them, guys. We got a lot to take a look at there now with the swing program, guys. So I want you guys to go ahead and take a look at that. If you haven't taken a look at the swing programs already, go ahead and do so, guys. There's different ways of doing it now. We got 2,000, 10,000, 20,000, and 40,000 options here. So I'm probably going to be trying to get a 20,000 account. I would love to get the 40. It's a little bit more expensive than I want to spend right now. More probably closer looking towards the 20,000. But of course, these are swings, right? And there's the flexible and the disciplined, right? And so whichever one you want to be getting after, the disciplined ones, the difference, you got the trading period to worry about, right? A little bit of a difference on the pause and things like that, right? So if you look at the flexible, you have a max loss of 1,400. The disciplined one is the same thing. The difference here is just going to be the days, the trading period. If you want unlimited, you have to pay a little bit more. But what does that do? That leaves room to wait for the trade, wait for the better setups, so wait for the opportunities, wait for the market runs, right? Wait for those big market days that you can make some big money. So definitely I would check it out, guys. And I'm looking to do the same, guys, and check one of these new ones. I had one of the old ones, got close. So let's see if we can get a funded swing account here. We'll start taking some swing trades probably next week, maybe even later this week. I might try to get it later this week. It's such a like in between week when we have a day off that I like to start fresh on these. So we'll see what happens. But there's so many swing trades on, right? And another thing is waiting for the moments, right? Because like if you're trying to catch trend trades on a trend breakout like TEM, it's a lot harder to swing trade once the stock is up here than from the base, right? And so just to mention that, you can wait for your opportunities. Wait for that basing.
Absolutely.
All right, kicking it to you guys. What are you guys seeing in the markets here? I'm still long on Clean Spark. I'm still seeing the market just step higher.
Yeah, it looks fine to me. Going. What I'm seeing is, okay, Michael, I want your critique here, and yours as well, Mitch. But just because this is kind of your system with the view app here, I'm currently long GME. Am I a sucker? Am I flipping my bias? Am I being silly, or am I adapting with the trade? What do you think?
No, I think we talk.
We'll have the chat vote too. Let's have a chat vote too. So one, if you kind of agree with the flip. Two, if you're like no short GME. We'll catch the comments there. But what are you saying, Michael?
No, I think and our boy Kenny said the same thing, right? It's they tried to fake you out short, right? And they tried to run under that, and if they just can't do it and you strongly break back through VWAP, it looks to me like it's a good play. Now again, right, this is moving with Bitcoin. It sold off earlier in the day because Bitcoin was selling off. It's rallying later in the day because Bitcoin is rallying. It's a Bitcoin proxy at this point. So I like the fact that we had a little bit of a spike down. I can show here in Bitcoin. This is a 5-minute chart. We had this little spike right down here and then right back through. So that kind of seemed like a bit of a potential kind of dying gasp of the sellers to try to push this down, and then just came right back through. Now we're not holding this area that I want to see us hold, this prior kind of 109, 110 area. But I like it, right? So this is the VWAP for Bitcoin. We're right at that now. We were well above it below. But yeah, this feels like one of those, let's really try to put the screws to the shorts and just ripped back through. So if this starts to drift higher, then I think your GME is going to be fantastic.
What happened to the guys at T-Rex? They do something as they opened a new ETF just recently ago in late April. GMEU.
Oh yeah, that's a fun one. I didn't even think about
Times.
that. Could have been in that.
Sure, why not? Why not at this point, right?
Yeah, we were in a bubble.
Oh man!
Ew, well, I guess not. Not very liquid.
Short it.
Sell it all today.
The guy, the classic meme on the phone. Short it, buy it. Now short it.
He sold. Send it.
Man, I gotta say, I wish I was on the old trading floors back in the days when it used to actually happen like that, right? It used to be like, I want $1 million again. Get me in now. Then the next guy coming over, I'll take 5 million short of whatever he has.
Mitch is romanticizing the orange juice trading feuds. What's that, trading spaces? That does look fun though, right? I'm sad that I will never see those times.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's what I grew up. I was like, I want to be on the New York Stock Exchange floor, yelling at people.
Singapore, I think, is the only one that's got the physical place you can go. A buddy of mine did a big tour. The guys at All Star Charts did a big tour of Southeast Asia, and a couple of those places still have physical exchanges. Not for long.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
is All Star Charts, that's JC, right? Nice. I love his work.
No, they're buddies of mine. So yeah, they went and they did 11 countries or something in a couple weeks, just from all those Southeast East Asian countries. And yeah, they said there's a massive trading community down there.
Yeah, the one that I would say really disappointing is the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ was super disappointing, man. It's like a TV production place versus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the NYC still has some of that old school charm to it.
It's almost like a museum.
Yeah.
The New York Stock Exchange is like a museum that still gives you the feeling when you're on the floor, of how it could have been, right?
Yeah.
The NASDAQ just feels like you're in a data center.
Mm-hmm.
So the NASDAQ's no fun to go to. I've heard the CME in Chicago, the options is not the worst. To check out. I got to maybe check out that one. Maybe do a tour.
Yeah, hung out there in Chicago. It was nice, but it's the same kind of thing, right? A lot of it's mostly digital now.
I'm looking to do another tour for Trade the Pool. I've done a New York Stock Exchange tour for Benzinga that I really enjoyed. So Michael, we're gonna have to do another one. Steve, I'm gonna have to get you on the floor, my friend.
Yeah, put me on, coach. I'm ready.
I know.
Oh, it's good now. When you
come, Michael and I have seen it. We have to send Steve. Right? We got to let this guy see the floor.
Bring ideally a passport, but if not, for the love of God, a valid driver license. Both times I went, I was with a big crew of traders, and dude had an expired license or something. And it's you have to. And it's you go all the way there, and
you need to know who you are, dude.
Yeah,
they can't just allow you into the New York Stock Exchange.
Walk onto the floor, right? They check you out. You get punched into a thing.
Yeah.
You put your
no bringing weapons. Do we got to say these things?
I know, but yeah, both times there's two different guys that are like, "Oh, my license expired. That'll probably be okay." I'm like, it probably won't be. Even for me as a Canadian, I always bring my passport.
At least the passport, man.
Yeah,
I just a little
just the easiest thing to go. Right.
All right, SPY starting to pull back a little bit. Looks like we could get a 9 EMA attempt again, and then they're starting to undercut towards the VWAP. We'll look to see if these can hold now.
Yeah.
I'm still net long in my other stuff, so I just wanted to grab a little hedge as I saw the little roll coming in on the market. Yeah, the swing high on pre-market, like you mentioned.
Yeah, we can't. So far, we can't get through that. Shows that this is a tech rally too, is because the Qs broke that pre-market high, and the SPY just could not yet. Our boy IWM is actually doing okay. Good for you.
Yeah.
You get one notch in the I always expect the small cap one to do worse, just because you kick out your best players, right? So it makes sense, but not that much worse. It's been trash, and it's been rates mostly, right? It's smaller companies. Same with tariffs. We talked about this with tariffs. It is much easier for a larger company with deep pockets to figure out a way around tariffs. The small caps, the mom and pop shops out there, the 100 million, 200 million, maybe $1 billion company, it's way harder to try to move production, to move all of that stuff around. So tariffs and things like that are something that definitely punish the little guy way more than the big. So that's, I think, why IWM is lagging so much.
Yeah, it's a great way to frame it, right? Because SPY, you have to be a winner to be in it. IWM, you win too much, you get kicked out. So like, which do you want to hold for a year or two? I know what I want.
Well, and SMCI is a perfect example, right? It skipped the mid cap index, right? It was it was holding up the whole small cap. It was so big, and then they said, "Okay, good job, go to the next one," right?
Mara taking off 50-90s now, guys. Definitely in the wrong one here, but still making cash, so not mad, right? Sometimes you don't pick the relatively strong one, you don't know, but good breakout there in Mara. I feel like it's almost to 16 now. And that's what, remember when we talked about it, we even could clip this, right? This is a perfect clip of, hey, in the pre-market, we talked about how Mara had that super undercut. They washed out all those bulls. I talked about it. I mean, bring it to 16. It's already a good trade, right? It doesn't need to go that much further, right? I think that this is the time where the day traders are going to be looking like, okay, well, through 16, I can take some cash, right? We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's it's a good end of the day there with the SPY again, just struggling against this pre-market high. I don't know if it's going to be one of those that it's going to fall completely. It seems too convenient just to get up there and then just fall apart completely. What I would say is we're probably entering that chop period now that it's got a resistance it's got to deal with. So I would just say, right, mark that pre-market high, and then VWAP. If we're staying above VWAP, we're probably bullish for the rest of the day. That pre-market high might give us a little bit of struggle to see if we can get through maybe later when volume starts to pick back up again.
All right, we'll look for the continued climb out there, and not looking too bad. Bouncing back here with Clean Spark, and we'll continue battling. We'll be back tomorrow, guys. Continue right here in Discord event. Don't miss it, guys. Next Wednesday right here. I don't know why it says next Wednesday, but tomorrow. Wednesday, tomorrow, the link there. Let me give you actually that link here. I can actually grab it right from there. Before you guys get out of here, let's go ahead and let's make sure we grab this link and share it with you guys. Hit this
I'll be on
right now, guys. I need you guys on. I need you guys there. All of you guys out here that join us every single day. Go out and join the Discord. There's the link right there. You guys can get the invite. We'll see you guys there. That'll be tomorrow. We'll all three be apart doing a different area and going through different strategies. So don't miss that, guys. And it'll be real fun. We have some giveaways also for all our active listeners. Keyword, hint, active listeners. We'll see you guys like always tomorrow. Jay Angelo, I know I'll see you there, my friend. Take care, guys, and we'll see what happens with different trades. I got Clean Spark breaking like 980s now, looking good. Mara to 16. Wasn't a bad day. We'll continue battling like always, guys. Continue trading and look into the new swing accounts. As you guys see, as cheap as I think $47 for one. I mean, come on, guys. Get out there. Go get that swing account. See you back tomorrow.